Asked everybody.
Are we doing the thing yet?
Yeah, we're doing the thing.
Oh, so they can hear us?
Yeah, they can hear us.
Okay, well, hey, Hooven, I'm assuming that you now have a pulsating sac.
I shouldn't have let them hear us. That was a mistake.
Well, they just did the transmute meat to pet.
Gross.
Yeah. Well, see, the
Gross.
really funny thing is that if you look in the pet journal and you just type in alchemy, because you can just, it automatically sorts that way, so you can find out what you get through alchemy. One of the pets is, I think, a robotic squirrel of some sort or a robotic something. Like, I don't think that's actually alchemy. That might be something wrong.
That
We'll
search
check.
does not work as well as I would like it to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are you trying to search
I
for?
mean, I don't know for pets. Maybe it's better for pets, but for mounts, I have had a hard time. Because I feel like they should attach general terms to it as well. Like, they should put in codes for idiots that don't know the stupid name they gave their mount. And so if I search bat, I should see all the bats that I
Yeah.
have. It doesn't.
Huh. Well, it's funny because when I search fox, the Lothan Prowler pops up. But
And
then again, so do a bunch of other
it
things.
might not be the bat, but there was something I was searching for recently. I'll tell you another one was I was trying to find the Horde Interceptor for some shenanigans today.
Oh yeah.
And it's called I think it's called the Orgrimmar Interceptor. And I searched for Horde and couldn't really find it. And then I searched for Orgrimmar, and there were about a gajillion things that popped up because there's a lot of stuff you
Yeah.
can get in Orgrimmar. And
You know how I found it?
finally someone was like, Interceptor. And I was like, okay, that'll find it.
I searched for BlizzCon and it popped up.
Well, look at you.
Yeah, that's how I found the Sky Chaser when I was oh, that's a story for another time. Like in 5 minutes here. Well, maybe not.
Maybe not five
When I was on an
minutes.
Alliance character, I searched BlizzCon and the Sky Chaser pulled up.
Okay, story done.
Story done.
Did it. Was good thing we saved it. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's why I decided maybe I shouldn't save it. I'm
Um,
glad that I decided not to save it.
yeah, it's probably a good idea. Well, should we just do the show? Should we just get into it?
That's a really good idea, except I'm trying to find a freaking map so I know how to say something for the entire episode of the show. Because
You want to have accurate information? What?
I just want to be able to say one thing right. And I feel like every single time I say it wrong. What the hell?
What is the thing? You can tell us. It's just the pre-show over here.
The capital city is what? Zen. Oh, wait, found it. There we go. I want to keep calling it Zeldazar, but I'm like, that's not right.
Zaldazar.
Zoldazar. Hey, you know what? I was pretty darn close. It's not too bad. Yeah, what do you know?
I call it the Troll Capital City.
Yeah,
Or
it's
the
good.
Pyramid.
Yeah.
Pyramid Palace.
Let's do the actual show. How's that?
Okay, let's do it.
I'm gonna stop my pre-show recording that I won't use because it's just us and it's just us talking about sound checks and whatnot.
Sound check.
1, 2,
Sound check.
3, 4.
Sound check.
Sound check.
Sound check.
Sound check.
Somebody outside when I did the last sound check screamed, so they were on board.
Oh, good.
Hey, okay, let's do show.
Hey. Okay.
Hey, all right.
All right. Okay. Let's do this now.
Okay,
Yeah.
then let's do it.
Okay. Welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 282. It is the dawn of a new day. It is a dawn of a new expansion and a dawn of a new episode. I'm Ben Bumhofer, and with me, as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Hello, Ben. It is. We're here. We're in a new expansion. Last week we were in an old expansion. Now we're in a new expansion.
Well, now it's considered an old expansion. Would it be considered a new expansion still last week until the new one started?
No, it was an old expansion last week. It's an old expansion this week. It's a new expansion this week.
Okay, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, here's the funny thing. John and I have been doing this show since 2013. I actually looked it up yesterday.
Hey.
Um, Before we started doing the show together, we used to talk about WoW a whole lot.
Yep.
Then times had changed. We started doing a show and everything, and
As Garrosh told us, times
yes,
change.
exactly, times change. But so here's the thing: we try not to talk too much outside of the show about WoW, especially ever since we switched to the hey, let's just talk about stuff and have fun format.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole week has been killing me. Like I haven't talked to you at all this week because I'm trying to like save something to chat about and everything. So John,
Yes, Ben.
new expansion, how you like it?
How about that World of Warcraft, huh?
Oh,
Wow, man, it's been crazy. Like, a lot has happened in a week. A lot. Because that's the thing. I think about it and I'm like, boy, we didn't even have any of this last time you and I talked about WoW. And now
the whole world's opened up.
everything's crazy. Before we went out to dinner before the show, I was doing world quests for this expansion.
Oh, you've hit 120 already.
I have.
Great job, man. Great job.
So, it's been nuts. It's been crazy. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
You know, I think that well, first of all, let's check in and then let's do a couple disclaimers. So, I'm
Okay.
120. I obviously just revealed that. Ben, where are you?
I'm 115.
Okay. And so here's our disclaimers. It is still only 1 week into the expansion.
Not even a full week yet.
So we are going to try to avoid major spoilers.
Thank you.
I think that the opening stuff is open for business, because if you haven't seen that yet, it means you haven't gotten the expansion and haven't dove in, and I think that stuff might even be free for you, even if you didn't get it. So honestly, at this point, I'm just considering you should have done it. That's going to get spoiled.
Yes.
We're going to talk around first impressions. We're going to talk around feelings, and, you know, depending on how you define spoilers, there might be some content in here. But as far as story beats, big important things, we're going to try to dodge it. Now, another thing that I feel like we should talk about is I have been pretty much exclusively on my Horde tune. Where has your time gone, Ben?
Mostly the Horde. So here's the thing. I started out and I won't give you the whole that bit yet. But anyway, so started out, did all that stuff, played Horde as much as I could. Then I had to go back to worked. And then last night when I got home, I'm like, okay, I should probably at least try the intro to the Alliance side of things. So I was a total chump and I paid for a boost for an Alliance character. John, you might be thinking to yourself, hey, Ben, don't you have a mage over there? And yes, I do. But because of how much I love transmog, I'm like, I gotta get some leather transmog on the Alliance side with the off chance that I can use it on the Horde side. So I boosted a monk.
Oh, you know what? I didn't think of that. Their transmog is really good.
Well,
I should probably play a leather class.
Here's the thing. I found out that not everything goes over, and it's weird. So originally I got a pair of cloth shoulders that I sent to one of my mages, you know, to learn and everything, so I can get it in there. Hopped over to my Alliance character. It was available for her. So I'm like, okay, cool. That means everything goes over. So immediately I'm like, great, I got my new monk. I'm going to transmog into something different because, you know, as much as I like the starter look of the monk set, you know, because it's so simple, you don't have any gloves on and all, you know, neat looking set. I go in there and only a certain pair of leather shoulders is available to me versus the entire leather set that I had gotten. So not everything goes over. But here's the funny thing, John. I had a set of like Alliance side questing leathers already. So I think they kind of do it the same way. Like if you were to do a race change, you know, like a faction change, how like you have the or one of the Orgrimmar Horde mounts, and then you race change to like a dwarf or something,
Yeah.
and it turns into, you know, a ram. I think it's something like that because I transmogged a whole, hey, look, I've been questing for a while, like set onto my new monk. So I'm like, cool, this
Nice.
works. Yeah. I am bummed though because I would like to have some of that stuff on my horde side because it looks great.
Well, I think you will be able to. I am just now starting to do questing over on the Alliance continents. I've basically unlocked the ability to be over there,
Yeah.
and now I have, like I said, I have dailies or world quests, and world quests populate over there as well as on our continent. So uh, I know I'll be over there, and when
Hmm.
I was over there earlier today, the stuff that dropped seemed to still flavor to the Coltira side of things. So my
Yeah.
guess is that you gain access to that eventually.
At least some of it.
So that's my thought.
It's
But
actually confirmed in the chat room as well.
cool. So anyway, with all those disclaimers and kind of ideas, I will say this. I'm sorry, Alliance. We're going to be talking about a lot of Horde thoughts and opinions on this. It was not my intent, but I got sucked in.
Hmm.
And, for all the faction fun we try to
Well,
have around here,
how this?
I don't think anybody would begrudge me for wanting to play the faction that I actually enjoyed. So
Well, do you want to hear my thoughts on the Alliance side first before we jump into all the Horde stuff, just so that, we make sure to make time for it?
well, let's sprinkle it in. Let's
Okay.
let them have stuff in amongst the trees.
All right. Well,
And then we can all experience a little bit of fun
okay.
throughout the whole thing. Uh, let's talk about the intro bits though,
Mm.
because that was, I don't know. I guess I kind of knew it was coming. I knew there was obviously going to be something that progressed us out there, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought in my mind I kind of thought there was going to be this element of get on the boat. We're gonna go to Zandalari. Like I thought the story was kind of gonna just be get on a boat. We need a navy. Let's go get a navy. And it turns
Easiest way
out
to do that, like getting on a boat.
there's a whole crazy mission in Stormwind before that even happens.
Hmm.
And that mission was fun. That mission was a lot of fun, especially as a rogue, because then when you get to the whole like stay in the circle and stay hidden, if you get out of the circle, you're still hidden. No, nobody cares.
Oh, really? Because I did the best I could. Because at one point he starts walking super fast. I'm like, oh, I gotta catch up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was a ton of fun. I don't. I want to mention this, and I don't want to necessarily just echo a story that I'm sure Scott told on the instance. I haven't heard it, but he told me it. He told it a bit on Core as well. So,
Okay.
but there is a moment in that is kind of genuinely freaky, which is the moment that the Worgen attack.
Hmm.
Like, and Gen comes stomping around the corner and starts marching towards you. That I was like, oh shit! Like this is serious business. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, I'm sitting there as a healer monk, like trying to kill things super fast so that we could get away from him. Like, I didn't know if there was actually a time limit or not, where if he shows up, you're just dead.
Yeah. It's Bo did tell us on Core that he went running up to Gen and got killed. Um, but it's one of those things like that whole intro quest was great. I loved Zool in that. He picks up a torch at one point and he just starts burning things as you go along, and I
Oh
thought
my
that
God.
was hilarious. I mean, it plays out, there's a reason for it obviously. Like the whole idea is that he sees elements of the future and all of that, and so him getting a premonition that he needed to do this to save them in the future is kind of a cool story beat for him. But my favorite thing was just watching him in the background as people are like, it's Jaina, we gotta run, and meanwhile he's over there with just this little fire stick just poking boxes, lighting things on fire. And I was just like, this pyromaniac is great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, with all the stuff that you're trying to do and escape, it's like, okay, makes sense, cause a distraction and stuff. But the whole like characterization of Zol, which way?
I mean, we always say like Zul'Farrak and Zul Jin and all of that, so I would
Yeah,
think it would
I'm
just be
thinking here it's no
Zul.
Dana, only Zool, so I'm like switching back and forth in there. But like he's a great character. I really like him, and I like the story that he plays out. And I'm excited about stuff with him.
Hmm. I think, I honestly, I think that, I'm obviously, even for being 120 and all of that, still what I would consider early. We're all early in the expansion. I don't care how far along you are, how much you've done at this point. Like, in theory, unless this goes the way of Cataclysm, or not Cataclysm, Draenor, we're early in the expansion. There's going to be patches, there's going to be evolution. So we still don't know everything, but at this point, I would say what I have liked most about this expansion is characterization.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that, like, characterization number one, and then this expansion also brings back a little of the world building that I liked so
Yes.
much about Pandaria, of
Yes. Yeah.
discovering an area, learning, the culture, the people there, seeing what they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. All of that, like, that part was incredibly interesting to me. But
Yeah.
they've also introduced a bunch of new characters for this expansion, and I like all of them.
Yeah. So okay, so we go through Stormwind and everything, and the whole premonition of the fire and all that, and then I gotta admit that cutscene after you actually get on the boat and start going away as you're being chased is so good, like so amazingly awesome. I mean, a dinosaur pushes the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking A, man! Like seriously, I can't be like more excited than that. A dinosaur pushes the boat. This is how we should just travel in the world now.
A dinosaur pushes the boat, and then a troll princess Tony Stark's the destruction of an entire navy.
With a Jericho missile.
Yeah, basically.
It's funny. Tetsumi said it, and I don't know if he said he got it from somewhere else or whatever, but they essentially were using fossil fuels.
Oh, Tet. I ran into him while I was leveling up. It was pretty fun. We both ended up fighting a rare mob together, and I waved and he ran away. So he was clearly in the same mode that I get when I'm playing. And then later, the exact opposite happened. I was busy on something, then he came up and was like waving at me in my face. And I was like, hi, Tet. Yes, I saw you.
And the funny thing is I get in that same exact thing. So Nevermore was playing, literally like about 3 feet away from me, and we're both just like totally just zoned in. We actually chose different places to start leveling first and everything, and like every now and then we're just like linking really cool gear that we've got to each other, like, oh, look at this, oh, this is neat, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, anyway, so cutscene really awesome and everything like that. Dude, the alliance starter stuff, like at first I'm like, this is like kind of BS, and alliance got boned because you start off and they're like, oh hey, while you were away, the horde broke in and did something in Stormwind, and like that's all you hear about what happens.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so then it's like, okay, time to go to talk to Anduin to figure out what's going on and stuff. And the funny thing is there's a dude there who was on that boat that didn't get destroyed. Because as we're watching the cutscene on the horde side, I'm like, you know what? One of those got away.
Yeah.
That's got to be by design. And so, dude's just sitting there like kneeling, and then Jaina uses a spell to look into his mind. So then you click on him, and then you see a little bit of that cutscene. Basically, you see the Jericho missile part, and like that's it. So I'm like, man, that sucks for them. But then you kind of decide, or you talk to Anduin and Jaina, and Gen there is there, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna go try to get Kultiris on our side because we gotta. And I gotta say, it was awesome after that point. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. Like the cinematics that happen on that side are fantastic. And then the scenario you get in it's another kind of prison break, John, and it is awesome too. So like they totally weren't boned like I thought they were. It was great. And there's some really great exposition as soon as you get out of there. And then that's essentially how far I get.
Okay.
Or how far I got. But I have to say that first town, like their hub area, it looks like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like hands down. And it got me so excited to play the Alliance at some point. I'm like, This is amazing. I absolutely love this. And there's so many nooks and crannies there that I mean, I didn't even start looking because I knew how long it took me to actually do that in the Horde capital city. Because John, that capital city is amazing.
Yeah, it's really potentially overwhelming,
Mhm.
which is fine because that's how it should feel. So, portals ruin all of my head narrative all the time. Like
Mhm.
that's always like whatever head canon I have going, portals and mages ruin exactly what's going on. They just ruin everything.
And
I,
that's why you don't like mages.
no, I like mages fine, but like as soon as you introduce portals to things, you do start to open up a lot of like even having hearthstones is very game breaking in a lot of ways, like narrative breaking. But the thing that I found interesting is you kind of get kidnapped as Horde players at the end of
Yeah.
that. You're like, Nathanos is like, we should go back, the Dark Lady. And then Talanji's just like, no, we're going to Zandalari and you're coming along. That's it. That's what we're doing. That's where we're going. And so to me, in my own little, again, headcanon, that's where I ended up. And if you want a reason why you can't fly, well, my cool flying mount is still back on Azeroth Prime. Like, yep,
That works.
any minute now. Any minute. But you should feel in that port town like a fish out of water because you are. Like, you weren't really planning on being there. You didn't know that's where you were going, and all of a sudden you're in a strange place. They like kind of want to kill you initially, and the initial question is, well, are they going to kick you off the pyramid or not? And I was like, it's fine. I'm going to jump off this pyramid so many times, it'll be okay.
So,
And it's good, but I do agree the alliance stuff looks amazing because I spent a lot of time in alliance territory today, Ben.
oh, did you?
I did.
I know you did.
It was streamed for anybody who wants to see that. That was streamed over on Scott's channel, twitch.tv/frogpants. But we did some dungeons today, and when we were done with that, we decided collectively, what if we all turned on war mode, or in this case, what if Scott turned on war mode because everybody else already had it on, and just went over to the Coltiris and started looking for alliance to fight. And that's what we did today. And I gotta tell you, it was the most fun I've had so far with this expansion. Just 5 people palling around, freaking out every single time we saw an alliance. It was like, there's one, and they're running away. Like the best one was this lady who I think was AFK sitting by a river. And I want to just explain the level of BS that was committed upon this poor person. I don't think they were even at their computer. They're just sitting quietly next to a little brook with war mode on.
Well, that's their first mistake.
Yeah. And I see her. I'm away from the rest of the party because I was doing a scout. I begin to go, there's one, and I'm pinging her super. Of course, I'm worried because I want everybody to jump in and be a part of this.
Mhm.
So I go over and I sap her as a rogue. I don't want to. I don't want to start the fight. So here's this AFK probably player just sitting there. Boop. And I'm still waiting for my friends, and the sap wears off. She still hasn't moved. Boop. Sap her again. Now
Oh.
they're coming over the hill, and then 5 of us. This poor lady who's just been sapped at a brook, just sitting there. 5 people descend on her as if she's the greatest threat to mankind and blow her up.
So it's essentially the Thanos fight.
Yeah, it was really bad. Except in this case, Thanos is a small night elf person just having a quiet picnic on a beach.
Of course, of course.
But it was a lot of fun, and it cued me into what is one of the neatest features of War Mode that I do want to talk about just real
Okay.
quick.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't know what the exact number is. I didn't. I honestly, I knew that there was a bounty system in the game because I had killed players with a bounty on them before, but I didn't know any other details about it. I'd open up the map and see a little alliance logo and it'd say so and so has a bounty, and so I knew something existed, but I didn't know the details. Well, as we were going through beating up these poor alliance, I like to think of it as immersion simulation because the place we found to fight them was a place where the horde has invaded this small town and the alliance is coming in to stop them.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
We just made it more realistic by giving them real horde members to fight instead of fake NPC horde members. So
That actually makes a lot of sense.
these are the ways we justify our atrocities. And so we were in there fighting them for a while, and all of a sudden I got a new buff on me that was Horde Assassin, and it ups my damage and I think makes me take less damage as well. It has 2 traits on it. And I thought, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. I'm doing good at killing Alliance, so it makes me better at killing Alliance? How is this balanced? Well, I found out shortly after that, because right after that, after I killed a couple more Alliance players, I got a bounty put on me. And it immediately popped open a quest. It basically is like, the Alliance has marked you for death. And they were like, if you can kill 10 Alliance players without dying in this zone, you will unlock the title, so-and-so, the Alliance Slayer. I was like, that sounds pretty good. So I accepted the quest. We all ran back to that town because we had been exploring around when it popped. And we all ran back to that town. We're like, let's pick a fight right now. We all got to get in a fight. But the way that buff gets balanced is now everybody in that zone, all the Alliance players, can see where I'm at all times. I mean, I can still stealth, but they know what area I'm in, basically. Yeah. And they came. They were interested in getting revenge all of a sudden. And I think what's so cool about the bounty system is whenever we talk about the old days PvP and PvP servers, I always bring up Terran Mill versus South Shore. Yeah. Because it was always this escalation. It was always, you were leveling there together, someone killed someone else, then they came back and fought, then they told a friend, and so they brought a friend, and then it was like, these Alliance, they brought friends! They have no honor. They brought people. And so you bring people, and then they bring more people, and then you bring more people, and then next thing you know, you have the Terran Mill situation that we all love, which is a huge ton of people lined up ready to just run at each other and attack each other. And what's so good about this bounty system is it kind of recreates that to a degree. Okay. Not 100%, because there's really nothing that's encouraging horde players to come and help you. But in theory, if you're doing that well in PvP, you probably have some allies with you, or you're just a paladin who are hot garbage. I'm ready. You know what? I will forgive every class from now on. Paladins are my new tilt mode because I cannot fight a paladin in PvP. That's just like, I fight them for what feels like 15 minutes, and then they're like, but what if all my health was back? And you're like, ah! So then you get them down again, and they're like, what if I bubbled and just healed myself? Ah! And then you get them down again, and they're like, oh, that thing I did before? What if I did it again? What if I mounted real quick, went over here and healed myself some more? And you're just like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. It drives me crazy. Paladins are actually great. It's probably my 3rd favorite class in the game, but fighting them is such a freaking nightmare. It is just the worst feeling in the world.
Well, it's funny. I haven't tried any war mode stuff at all yet, just because I've been leveling. And yeah, I know if you turn it on, you get that extra boost and everything, but I don't care. I'm taking my time anyway. So once I am actually 120, I'm probably going to give it a shot. But see, here's the fun thing. Ever since they changed how Mistweaver monks work and everything, I don't have a Healy Beam connected unless I specifically cast that. So in theory, I could like be hiding somewhere, and as long as I have line of sight, I can just start healing everybody the entire time. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. But then if I need to like super duper like do an insta cast, that's when there's going to be a line coming from the person that they're attacking directly to me. It's like, I'm not over here. Bye. And so like that part of it is going to be kind of challenging to see how that goes and everything. But I don't know. I mean, hearing this, I could see doing it in groups and having fun with it, because some of the most fun I've ever had doing PvP was Alterac Valley. And I know that's like totally old school and nobody likes it anymore and everything, but I really had a fun time being, part of a big group. Whereas, we've discussed before when we were doing Arena, I was the first one to die always, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, being a healer is going to probably have, kind of problems like that too. But at the same time, at least I'll be able to keep myself alive a little bit. And if I'm like one among many, there's a good chance that's, I'll be able to really get in there. And being a monk, I'm pretty mobile. My heals are pretty good. And in healing spec, I'm doing damage. That's how I'm leveling. So yeah, I'm kind of actually looking forward to this. I want to get in on this at some point.
It's a fun mode. It definitely adds excitement back. There was one point where I turned it off because I was down to literally the last place that I could quest, and it is a spot that's right apparently where the Alliance wants to be as well. And I just went there and there was just an Alliance party killing anybody that showed up to quest there. So I was like, all right. But that's the solution. Like, that's the part. And that's why, even though, when we talk about somebody that's just AFK next to a pond that gets blown up, or the fact that some of these people we killed in this town, we killed probably 6 or 7 times in a row,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't necessarily feel that bad, because once you activate war mode, I understand you get bonuses and all that for it, so there's probably people out there that feel like they have to have it on.
Oh,
but
I
to
know.
me, you're kind of entering that contract of, it's fair game. It's
Mm-hmm.
fair game. And
Yeah.
as frustrated as I was by the paladin that hunted me relentlessly and kept yelling "brr," which I believe is LOL,
Yeah, that's right.
he just wouldn't stop LOLing me. That's probably why I'm so tilted about it,
Well, the big
honestly.
question is how many of them were actually people watching the stream versus.
Oh, well, the paladin thing was after the fact.
Oh, okay.
The paladin thing was, I went to do a world quest, and while I was there doing the world quest, he showed up. He tried to kill me. I did as much damage as I could. Then he fully healed himself because he's a putz. And a monk showed up, and then the monk and I killed the paladin. And then there was a warlock watching, and we both walked over to the warlock. The warlock was just standing there, and we were both looking at the warlock like, are you AFK or not? And we're both just like staring, and then I see the warlock start to cast an attack, and I was like, no! And then we just started fighting. So we killed the warlock as well, but by the time we were finishing the warlock, the paladin showed up. The monk and I both couldn't kill the paladin, working together.
What kind of paladin was it? Red?
I don't know. A cheap-ass paladin.
Did they have a shield?
I don't remember. It was very chaotic.
Okay, I'll give you that.
There's just bubbles and knives coming out of the ground, and my camera's way back. And
Oh, so they were red. Okay.
oh yeah, I guess that is a red ability where the thing comes out of the ground. So yeah, it just so they killed the monk. I managed to get away, and I was like, okay, well, I'm done.
Themselves.
Yeah, well, that's
right.
that's how I feel better about myself. I can't kill a paladin, but I can keep the paladin from killing me. So I can throw dirt in his eye and run away, and he can yell "brr" all he wants, and just as I'm running away, "brr, brr, brr," as I go over the hill. But that's his
Yep.
frustration to deal
I'm
with.
just yelling, John, John, come back. I'm a fan. I'm a fan, John.
Then the problem was that I found a rare spawn near there, and I
Oh,
decided to fight it. And I fought it and I killed it, but as soon as it was done, a hammer hit me in the side of the head, and I was like, "Oh crap, it's on again!" So I fought him again, couldn't kill him. Tried to escape. He managed to stop me and kill me. I rezzed. Apparently, the rare spawn appeared again. He started fighting it. It started wrecking him because he was already weak from fighting me. So I did what anybody would do in this situation. I tried to help the mob win the fight, but he pulled some more paladin BS and brr, brr, and started healing himself back up. And so I retreated again.
well, you know what? That's very honorable of you.
So I don't know. It's fun. It just like these are interesting, I hope, stories that don't come up when you're just doing your, like, oh, I went through and I did the quest. The questing was very good. Like these are unexpected things that jump in. And, I will, there are going to be times where I don't want to PvP and I'll go turn war mode off and enjoy being able to casually walk through the chaos and just be fine. But having it on has been a total blast.
Well, this is the part of the show where I get to say I did a quest and it was fun. Thanks, John. It's a lot for that.
I do want to say, let me confirm, just for anybody who's curious, my title currently is the Alliance Slayer. We did it. I got my title. But I felt bad because they put in a lot of effort by the time other people were getting the option to get it, and we got crushed shortly thereafter.
Well, you got it, which is what matters.
So it was fun, and apparently I've done enough PvP to where I unlocked a pet from it, and there's just rewards rolling in. It's just like, it was weird because usually, like, if you queue up for a dungeon, you're doing that to get a reward. It's like, well, maybe I will get loot. Like, there will be loot in here I could get. This was just like, oh, I was just having fun doing a thing. You mean I'm earning and unlocking things at the same time? That's cool.
What if you can get a title for it, John?
Turns out, Ben, it finally happened.
There you go.
I did a thing and they rewarded a title for it. It was good.
Hey, I'm proud of you. Good job.
What zone did you start in?
So actually, I wanted to talk about this. You have, everybody has 3 options on how they want to go with it. And I totally RP'd the order of which I decided to go because
I thought I did too. So I'm curious what your order ended up being.
Okay, well, first of all, the Alliance has 3 options as well. It's actually really it's tough to figure out which way to do it with them. So the place that has the starting city, essentially, think like Figurehead is kind of running things behind the show and everything like that. And you
got a Jafar situation.
Kind of. Like Jaina's mom is, I don't know, she's got someone who's like second in command who I don't like.
Like a Jafar.
If she was or Jafar was I don't know, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, but a rather commanding woman who does not like Jaina or you at all.
That sounds like Jafar to me.
Yeah, except for the whole family part. But
oh, right.
Anyways, so you can like kind of, stop that. There's I think it's Dustavar, if I've got that right. I don't know the names of the Alliance stuff yet. But so you go over there. There's a family who's one of the controlling families of Kulturis. They've like been missing for months. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to start there for them to get them backing me and then take on this and then go up north to like find a missing fleet, which it's like there's a missing fleet up north or something like that. Like that's kind of what I remember just from last night. So I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Getting support over here, going back, getting the city back, and then searching for the fleet. So that's my RP Alliance side. Horde side, by the way, freaking A. I know we already said it, but man, that capital is so cool. And there is so many nooks and crannies and so many different things. Like, just random quests are just in there. And I beat up a dude who uses street urchins to do bad things. It was great.
Yeah.
I loved it. Anyway, so we have Zuldazar, which is, hey, the king doesn't trust you. You need to get his support in order to get a fleet.
Right.
Then you have Nazmir, which is, hey, the princess is trying to stop a big threat from up north. And then Vol'dun, which is, hey, there's things that'll destroy basically the whole world over there.
Also, we have kind of a Jafar situation.
So, yeah, I found that kind of funny that both sides kind of had similar themes in places.
Actually, the Horde kind of has two Jafars, but we can't get too much into it. But there's kind of two Jafars.
Yeah. So what I thought was, I'm going to start with Zuldazar because I'm trying to get the king on my side anyway. The ultimate goal here is to get a fleet for the Horde. But that's never going to happen if the king's not on my side.
So far, we're 1 for 1. That's where I started as well.
Then at that point, I'm like, okay, the princess is already on my side, but I want to strengthen that bond and get her support. We'll clear out whatever's north of us. And then once everything's all combined, we can take on the threat to the north, to the northwest.
Okay, that's where we diverged.
Okay, so you went to Vol'dun first?
I started in the city, and then I went to Vol'dun, and then I went to the Blood Marshes. That's not what they're called, but that's what I'm gonna call them.
Just what they are.
Yeah.
I know you're 120. I'm 115. I've completely finished Zuldazar as best as I know of. I'm sure there's a couple quests here or there that are just gonna pop up and they're just somewhere, because that's how the leveling experience has been for this game.
Yeah.
That zone, it's so packed full. Like, I got the achievement for finishing the quest, and I still had like 3 or 4 whole quest lines to finish before stuff stopped appearing on my map. It's great. I love that there's so much there, and there's so much exploration and everything too. Like, I keep going back to the capital. I spent 2 hours just walking around there looking at stuff before I even started a quest.
Yeah.
That place is awesome, dude. There's Grummels there. It's great.
Yeah.
Sadly, there's also Hosen, which sucks. But the Monkey King's there. He's cool.
He's got 2 winged assistants.
Yes.
That I joked, and I think is still accurate, that I am not 100% unconvinced that Blizzard didn't let Bo name something in this game.
Yes, that's what it was like.
Because what is their name? Hold on, I gotta find it, because I took a picture of it. It's Flap Flap.
Yep.
Is one of them. Flap Flap. And what does this say? Ginger.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a bow naming convention. But yeah. So, anyways, I finished Zuldazar, and I'm just starting Nazmir. Like, I got the intro stuff. I saw the cutscene for the intro stuff. And then there's a character that comes up who is a real hoot to work with, and I just started working on his quests, and then started exploring for like an hour. So, yeah, I'm getting there.
So, completely unrelated to what you just said, I just want to give a special shout out to Bwansamdi for being the best freaking character in this expansion so far.
That's my first big story quest to go there, and I am excited because everybody in Guild Chat keeps talking about how great he is, and with your backing, I will know that there's something to it then.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I really like him. There's maybe calling him hands down the best is questionable. There's a lot of really good characters this go around, but man, do I like him a lot.
Well, let me ask you this. How much do you love that the Zandalar trolls are essentially Wakandans?
I love it a lot.
Isn't it fantastic?
Yeah.
It's funny because we talked about this not Raid, but on Wednesday we all got online and we're kind of chatting as we were questing and stuff. And you brought it up about how much he enjoys it. And, I on an episode recently, I talked about how I don't like the fake troll accent and stuff. And instead of like some sort of weird caricature, the fact that they're, speaking with this sort of accent and everything like that, it makes them feel like more of a real race and real people than just like the over the top like troll accent that they put in the game.
Yeah.
And I love the way that they're I've got a cat on my desk, sorry. I love the way that their whole, society works and stuff like that. I love all the Loa stuff, and getting kind of more of an introduction to all that. And I mean, you really hit the nail on the head when you said it's like Pandaria, where there's so much world building in this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Zandalar trolls were a big, huge enemy during Pandaria. And then just seeing the ties to that and the changes and all the like the story stuff that's going on, at least in Zoldazar, I really like how it's playing out, or I should say how it's played out since I've pretty much finished.
Yeah. It's really cool. Like I said, I think the big winners, at least so far from this expansion, for me, if we're gonna do a hey, what's great, I think it is the characterization, and I think it's the setting. I think are the two big things for me so far.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've never enjoyed the troll aesthetic. I've never enjoyed like troll raids and dungeons. You know how we always had a troll patch.
Yeah.
And when we first found out that we're going to be getting a troll expansion, essentially, I was so just not looking forward to it. But I've completely like total 180. I'm loving everything about this. The people, the aesthetic, I mean the environments, just everything about this horde side of it is so good.
And that's the thing is I know I'm going to love the Alliance side because I love the aesthetic. Like they had me from the get-go. Like I love the way things look. I love the way things sound. I like the way the armor looks over there. I dig everything that's doing on the Alliance side on a surface level. The Horde side had to actually win me over because I was one of those people that was like, I don't know if I'm ready for just more trolls. And oh my gosh, now they could say the next expansion is all trolls and I'd be like, sweet, more. Yeah, great, give me more. They're super good. Because they've gotten me on board with these characters. Like now I can't imagine not having Talanji,
Oh, she's so great.
as a part of what's going on. Like one of the things that I had been kind of concerned about is we've been kind of burning through characters, and based on some decisions that characters I like very much are making, it seems like potentially we could burn through additional ones. And it was like, well, where is it just going to be about us from now on? Because like all the characters that I think are cool and interesting are disappearing, and now all of a sudden they give us one new expansion and I can probably rattle off 5 or 6 characters that now I can't imagine the game without.
Yeah, and what's even better about this too is that so many of these characters aren't based on anything from a previous game. That's one of the things that I loved about Garrosh so much, is that he was introduced in Burning Crusade and then his character grew into what he became. I mean, he became a villain. Yeah. In fact, I think he's still one of the best, if not the best villain in World of Warcraft. I mean, Arthas aside, no one's going to beat him, but you know what I mean? And all that growth, everything that we saw from it happened over the course of all these different expansions, and getting such rich characters already, like just from the start, and knowing, hey, this character is there and they're going to be there, is something that has got me like super excited for the future to see what happens with them. I mean, I hope it doesn't go the way of some of the major lore characters now, but I mean, so many of those were just carried over from before that it's almost like current story wise there's almost a loss of what we do with some of them.
Yeah.
So the fact that they are introducing more in this world and making them like actual big key players really pushes the whole thing forward to me, hoping that they're just going to be around for a long time to come. And if anything, we have a whole new list of characters that we can throw in the Nexus and everybody'll be happy.
Yeah, there we go.
I knew that'd get you lit up.
Juan Samdi. That's who I want. Put him in the Nexus. He's so good. I don't know what he'd do, but he should be there. He should be there having a good time.
He just does scathing commentary on any deaths.
um, he's so good. He looks so cool. He's
He-
seriously one of the coolest looking things I've seen in the game. Um, oh, I like it so much.
A question for you: how has your leveling experience been? Like, would you say it's been difficult at all, or have you just been kind of coasting through it, or like what's been going on?
So what's funny is I feel like it has been backwards. At first, I was breezing through it and having a great time. And by the end of it, fighting one-on-one with something was nearly getting me killed. And I was like, good lord, what's happening? Like, the scaling feels steep. And it was almost like,
At 120 or before?
before, it was getting progressive each level.
Okay.
I felt like I stepped into it. Like, I think I told you, like, rogues are this thing where they're awful until they're not, and then a new expansion comes out and they go back to being awful.
Yep.
It was like Blizzard didn't want that to happen and worked some magic on it. And so for like the first 4 or 5 levels, I felt great and I felt like nothing had changed. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, oh, now everything is beating the crap out of me. And then by the time I hit 120, it was just like, God, I'm squishy. I'm awful. This is the worst. And it's really, it doesn't feel good because it feels backwards from what it should. So, okay, let me throw out a couple of negatives for this expansion.
Okay.
We're trying to be pretty positive. Obviously, we just went for almost an hour on stuff that we nothing but liked on the expansion. I have a couple gripes.
Okay.
Number one, the necklace is worthless. Like, it's not worthless, but for the artifact replacement, it could not be a more boring system. It is, if this was what was in Legion and they replaced it with the artifact weapons, that would feel like a natural evolution to me. As a result, this feels like a big step backwards because it feels like artifact 0.5. Like, you don't even right click to add the power to it. It just sort of happens automatically and you get a cool little blink. But I feel like the most worthwhile thing about the necklace was the cutscene that everybody took a screenshot of. Like, that was what I got out of the necklace. And yeah, it's okay. There's a slot on my character that's always going to be real good because it's powerful. Whatever. Like,
Weapon slot was a much better slot for that to happen with.
yeah. And I could not be less interested in the necklace right now. I hope they do something cool with it, but every time it levels up, I go, does this mean anything to me? No? Okay, then great.
Yeah, I mean, at least with the leveling process, the fact that it only matters if you have an unused slot in one of your 3 pieces, like where it matters. But even then, so far, and I'm sure someone totally disagrees, and that's perfectly fine. So far, I don't really care about the Azerite gear. It's, to me, it's like, okay, I get to pick between 2 things. Oh, my Hearthstone is, the cooldown is faster. Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be number 2 for me, is I don't think Azerite gear, it works better than I thought, because like I remember saying I didn't think it was going to even be in this expansion because I thought they did such a bad job of explaining it every time they talked about it. I was like, how are they going to make this system make sense? They found a way. It makes sense. It works.
Yep.
It feels a little arbitrary because there's like a point in leveling where you've gotten your necklace up to a point where as soon as you get Azerite gear, you have all the slots unlocked. Well, when you get to 120, all of a sudden it just stopped being that way again.
Yeah.
Like now all of a sudden I'm getting gear that's like, no, you have to have it at level 16 or 17. And I looked at like what the bonuses are, and it's the same stupid bonuses that's on the other gear. It's just arbitrarily now you got to be 16 or 17 on the necklace to unlock it. I think the bonuses mostly suck. Um,
I've heard that they're supposed to get a lot better as time goes on.
there's
That's
a
what.
few that have come out that I'm like, okay, that seems all right. But generally speaking, it feels like a choice between an interesting one and an uninteresting one.
Mhm.
And I bet if I cared to look up the math on it, I bet the uninteresting one is statistically better. But I go with the one that's interesting because I'm missing my artifact weapon, I'm missing my legendaries. I want the
Something fun.
cool factor to come back, so I'm
Yeah.
taking the traits that seem cool instead of the traits that seem practical.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, this just doesn't feel very good. And so I think they've missed the mark with the necklace so far. Azerite gear has not been as exciting as I hoped it would be. It's been okay. And then the other thing is leveling has never felt more worthless. Every time I dinged, it's just become a progress bar, and
Yeah.
like a completely arbitrary progress bar. I hit 120 about not even a quarter into the third zone. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I'm 115 and I just finished the first one.
and the
And
the reason is like there's too many quests. Like the problem that I see is that again, my opinion, World of Warcraft is doing the same things questing wise that it's always done, and that's fine. I find elements of it fun, but when I have finished your path and you've given me the little achievement for you've completed this zone, but I'm still going to hubs where they're like, here's 15 quests. And it's just like, why? I don't know if you remember, but we used to talk about Star Wars The Old Republic and
yeah.
how you'd go through the story mission and they'd tell you to go to the next planet, but there would always be a guy who would stop you on the way to the next planet and go, hold on, I got a new thing for you. And they would have the such and such planet bonus series, is what they called it.
And
It
all it was busy work.
Yes, and it feels like they've put that in WoW, and I hate it in this expansion. I, I see chat saying that they did it in Legion. I didn't notice it in Legion, and maybe I just found the storylines more compelling in Legion than I do here. But
Yeah.
like here, it was agonizing. By the time I was done with Vol'dun, I just wanted to go. Like there was a guy who was like, "Oh, you did this cool thing," and he's summoning ghosts and doing all sorts of weird stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. I'm done with this zone. I'm done with you. I'm done with your nonsense. F off." And they're like, "But we are all going to give you quests," and I was like, "I don't give a shit."
So
I'm
essentially, it's
done.
Miramar for you.
Yeah, it kind of came across that way. I just like this is the first expansion where I've actually been getting mad at new quests popping up, and as a result, it has made it stand out in my mind that I feel like it's too dense. And I don't think it would be a problem if they had a better way of telling you what's quote unquote filler versus what's not. But from their perspective, I'm sure they're thinking it's all important.
Yeah.
Um, but, I get that completionist urge of I want to do it and see it all. But then you just start doing it and it's just like, oh, this is just filler. This is just filler. And it's me doing the same thing that I was doing in the other place. And you start to see the patterns, which granted they've been this way since
Yeah.
Cataclysm before that. But it's like, I'm going to give you a quest where you're killing X number of things, right clicking X number of things, and using an activatable on X number of things, all
Mhm.
within the same little area. Okay, go do that, complete that, and here's the same thing in a new area. And it just starts to get so formulaic that I know WoW is a lot of formula repeated over and over and over again,
Yeah.
but this
That's what
time it did it in such a way that it actually was bothering me instead of it just being fun.
And see, I don't know if it's just because I didn't hit 120 yet or because I'm not. Let me preface this. This is not me saying that I'm doing something right versus wrong, or that's like, say, the people who, got to 120 in the first 5 hours, that they did it wrong. Everybody plays the way that they play. This is not me saying anything about that. But I mean, I'm coming at it looking at it differently. And I know you read quest text, you follow story and everything like that. I'm doing what I've always done, which is, I'm kind of reading the quest text, kind of going along and everything like that. And because of how rich, at least Zoldazar is, I mean, I can't speak for Nazmir or Vol'dun yet, but because of how rich that was with like culture and world and everything like that, I'm just eating up every single bit of questing just because it's giving me so much more of the culture and stuff. Like the random side quests where you talk to the Tortolin people. Holy crap, that's one of the greatest things. Like I just stumbled across one of their little villages and I fell in love with them. And then I was getting a quest, kind of along the coasts.
Yeah.
That whole story plot line, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is really neat. And like one of the quests was just to go a click thing, but it was a cute thing that I did. I'm like, this is really funny and neat and stuff like that. And to me, and again, I'm not saying you're disillusioned or anything, but for me, I'm just still like, I don't know, I guess the glitz and the glamour is still there. Like they haven't pulled the curtain back on me yet. And I'm still enjoying all that stuff. And I've got 5 more levels to go. We'll see if it happens or if something changes within the next week or two. But I'm just thoroughly enjoying all of it. And granted, this was the green lush place versus apparently a desert and a marshland. So maybe it has to do with the environment of where you were.
Yeah, and I will say this was not a issue when I was in Zoltazar. I don't know if that's to say that that's the best zone in this expansion, but I went through that entire zone and didn't get any sort of burnout on it.
Yeah.
I went into Vol'dun, and Vol'dun started very strong, and Vol'dun is where by the end of it I was just like, I'm sick of this. I need to get out of this place. I hate it. I don't traditionally love desert environments in video games because I live in one, and I don't need it. Like when you show me sand, I'm like, yeah, it's right out there.
Yeah, of course, it gets everywhere.
It sucks. So it could have been an environmental detail. Vol'dun was where I had the hardest problem with it. There was another element in Nazmir where that kicked in, which is, and here's where I feel weird because this seems almost hypocritical of me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just finished saying that leveling feels pointless.
Yeah.
But Nazmir is where I hit max level.
Okay.
But had to still keep doing the quest to get to the end of the story. And there's also an element of like, what am I even doing this for? Like, but I still stayed interested in the main story. It is when somebody's like, the problem is when you get pulled in a really interesting direction and then somebody wants you to do something dumb. Like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, we gotta go save them. This is insane. The whole world's gonna end. It's critical. And then someone's like, I can't find my butterflies. Can you go pick them up for me? And then some guy next to her is like, also kill armadillos. I tried to keep it very spoiler free. None of those things happen. But
there is a pet that you can buy that is a butterfly in a jar. So I'm just like, oh.
So I think that there is an element of like pacing to the story where sometimes it felt like it was kind of cutting itself at the kneecaps. Like it just all of a sudden it would tell me it's very important you go here, but before you do, can you go do this really trivial thing? And sometimes that actually worked out really good. Like there's a series of quests where they bring back in the Gob Squad, who have appeared in a couple expansions. And traditionally, I don't like the Gob Squad. And so when they showed up and they were like, we're going to deal with the Gob Squad, I was like, I don't want to do these quests. And when it finally came time to do them, I was like, oh, this was really fun. It actually stood out as a really fun set of missions for me that I enjoyed. So sometimes it does surprise you. But yeah, Vol'dun was where it was really bad for me. I don't know if I just somehow stayed on the path in Vol'dun and missed all this extra questing stuff, and then all of a sudden got hit by it all at once. There's some really great stuff out there, though. That's where you get a lot of the Volpera. That's it.
Yeah.
The Volpera are out there. They're pretty great. And
Yeah.
you get a lot of the snake people.
Which I saw a little bit of them at near one of the ends of Zoldazar. They're like really awesome, like design wise. They look awesome, and I hate them. And I am looking forward to actually fighting more of them.
They've got really great modulation on their voice that sounds super cool. And
Cool.
there is a place that is called the Temple of Akunda, or Akunda, however you pronounce
Okay.
it. And that quest line I really liked. It's one of my favorite quest lines, I think. And it's in the same zone. So it's not to say that it's all bad.
Yeah.
It's just that was the zone where I noticed just being like, I'm done with this place. I'm ready to move on.
Honestly, I think it might be environmental, just because like I get that. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to go there first. I mean, RP aside, is that it's a desert. I don't want to go to a desert. I hate deserts. They're the worst. But I don't know. In the next week or two, once I get there and stuff, I'm really interested to see how my thoughts compare to yours on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see chat mentioning this as well. The Horde does have it. If you complete the story in all 3 zones, you unlock a final bit of story mission, which has cutscenes and all of that attached to it. So even if you're, feeling burnt out a bit, you can go do other things, but understand there is a closing act to the game that doesn't kick in until you've completed the main storyline for all 3.
So it's something kind of like with what was it, Warlords of Draenor, where there's that really awesome cutscene with Garrosh and Thrall, and then after that, it's like everyone's just kind of standing around, like, well, guess we're done.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I don't know, but it might be required that you see that for World Quests. Maybe not. Maybe that's just tied to the war campaign, but
Yeah. Well, I do know that. Gosh, we haven't even started on that. Just kind of really quick. Just starting out that war campaign stuff was really cool. I've enjoyed that so far. I've unlocked 2 of the landing points.
yeah. I'm gonna say something that's gonna bum you out a little bit. But
Okay.
here's a tip to anybody who hasn't done it yet. I would recommend saving that stuff to the end. You get a gear piece for your first one that, if you're max level 4, is very powerful and a very good first step on good quality gear.
Well,
Uh,
crap.
So it's too late for Ben, but it's not too late for some of you. So hold off on the war campaign until you're done.
Well, phooey. Oh well.
It's fine.
That's the title of the show. Hold off on war campaign. Got it.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, this expansion is big, and I know we hit like a little bit of a complaint pothole, but it's a tiny bit of the expansion, and we're not done with it. Like,
Yeah.
even some of the
End of the show so far, because I'm still loving it.
yeah, and even some of the stuff that I said that I didn't love could potentially be cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. The necklace item could become super interesting going forward. They could do something cool with that.
I hope so, because like you said, taking away the artifact weapons, that was one of the saddest things about ending Legion that I've ever had. In fact, I'm still transmogging my artifact weapon because I grew so attached to it.
Oh, me too. Also, because it was as if somebody over at Blizzard was like, oh, rogues had to use swords? Okay, well, we'll make sure that they get nothing but fist weapons and maces now. And I was just
Dude,
like,
it took me so long before I got a healing staff.
I
So,
would.
okay, I can have I need an offhand and a main hand or a staff. Come on, give me something.
If I couldn't transmog my fist weapon to look like my artifact, I might be in a completely different state of mind about this expansion. It's very important to me that my character looks cool, and I hate fist weapons on rogues. So
See, I'm just super happy that I can change my hammer and my whatever the hell my offhand is into my healing staff.
yeah,
I love anything that you have can be an artifact appearance. I love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got a really cool looking sword today, and I was like, oh, I should transmog into that. Oh, it's not an artifact weapon. I get to choose between fist weapons right now or artifact appearances. So I'm kind of stuck on artifact appearances until I can get swords, or until Blizzard decides to do the right thing and let you just transmog anything into anything. But
Yeah, I'm just waiting for legendaries to be moggable again. Well, by when I say again, I mean ever.
they should be, because look, if you can transmog to have the Ashbringer whenever you want, who cares if you can transmog to make it look like you have...
There goes his wrath.
Yeah, I didn't even know the name of it.
That's why I said it.
So there you go. But anyway, that's...
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, anything else you just want to toss out there really quick?
I don't know. So much of it is spoiler stuff.
Well, we can do it
I've-
another just us in a couple weeks, and after more people play through a lot of the content then.
Yeah, and we'll dive into that and what we think of that. But yeah, it's just been really fun, and it's been different from Legion, and in a lot of the ways it's been good. Like it's been a breath of fresh air change.
Yeah.
I haven't loved everything, but overall I'm having a blast with the expansion. I mean, we're gonna finish this, and I'm probably gonna jump back in and start doing world quests, because
Oh, yeah. I'm jumping in and doing a couple dungeons.
I'm in that fun place where world quests, like every single one, is rewarding. Although I'm actually, on account of doing as many dungeons as I have already, I'm actually, it's not as rewarding as it could be, but it's still good. It still has the chance. So I'm excited about it.
All right. Well, John, until next episode, then where can people find you?
Hey, if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at John_Jagger. I will let you know where I will be and what I will be up to. And if you want to hear me talk about Heroes of the Storm, although we talked a lot about World of Warcraft last time, unsurprisingly, check me out on Core, which is the Heroes of the Storm show I do, part of the Frog Pants Network. You can find out more about that at heroesforyou.com. If you want to listen to some Dungeons and Dragons, I encourage you to check out There Will Be Dungeons. That records typically on Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific. And it is a very fun campaign with myself. Bo Schwartz is the DM, Scott, Kyle, Kristen. We have a good time. Sometimes we have rough times, hard times, encountered together. We grow as we experience things as a people.
And remember, people, John is actually not his character.
It's a hard world full of hard decisions, and none of them are made lightly. And there was a real rough day at work as a result of not being able to sleep because of decisions made in a game. But that's because I care, and that's because it's fun. So there will be dungeons.com is where you can find out more about that. Ben, where can people find you?
Best place to find me is actually on Twitter. I am at Ben the Mage. I also do another show with Eludra called Battle Pets, where we talk about battle pets in the World of Warcraft. We're going to be recording again sometime soon and talking about all the new pets that are available with with Battle for Azeroth.
Just a whole Legion show now. It's time.
Oh, yeah. Just to fill you in on this, John, there's a lot of new pets.
Yeah.
A lot.
Mostly they want me to buy them.
That's what I'm finding.
Is a little butt kiss, I'm going to just say, because they send me messages and they're like, oh man, they're so attached to you. I could tell this pet really cared about you. Please go visit so-and-so and pay for it. It's just like,
I'm dealing with that, John, and especially after a certain quest where it's like, oh, this is great. Oh, I'm so happy here. And, oh, okay. Well, I'll see you in like a month. But anyways, so check that out. We have fun over there. This show, though, Azeroth Roundtable, we are found on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. Any questions, comments, if you want to tell us about your experiences, you can go ahead and send those to azerothroundtable@gmail.com. And of course, if you want to hear us live, we record every Friday night, generally at 8 p.m. Pacific, at least this time of year, on twitch.tv/AzerothRT. You can find us there. And of course, if you like this episode and want to hear more from us, you can listen to every other episode we've done on AzerothRoundtable.com, on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and pretty much almost everywhere else that fine podcasts are found.
That's right, and this show is partially made possible by people helping us out. We want to thank them all, people who go to patreon.com/AzerothRT and help us do what we do. So, as usual, a big shout out to all the patrons over there, and a special shout out to the Murloc Club, Aaron, Frasley S, Haster, Jim G, Kryn,
I was waiting. I was wondering if you looked it up or not.
what was it? It was Sasch?
Yeah, Sasch.
Sasch H.
If that's wrong, you email us and tell us how to
Yeah,
pronounce.
let us know if that's not right. We did a lot of research after the last show, and that was what we came up with. Simon.
People say or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we might be wrong, but the internet told us, and we listened.
Yeah.
A big thank you to all of you. Thank you all so much.
It was Simon who? Sorry? I interrupted.
It was just Simon.
Oh, just Simon? Okay.
Just Simon.
That's not just Simon. It's Simon.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
with that, you know what, Simon? And everyone else in the Murloc Club?
Oh, the Murloc died at the end.
Yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't doing too good.
Oh. Well, that's sad.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you everybody for joining us for this episode of Azeroth Roundtable. I hope you are as excited as we are to continue on this journey in Battle for Azeroth. And until next time, be good to each other. Bye, everybody.
Slayer of the Alliance.
For the Horde? I mean, it's the same thing. For the Horde.
You need to finish the word horde if you're going to trail off.
Oh, sorry. For the Horde!
If you can't end... Once you start saying horde, you have to commit to the word or you say a different word.
Oh. Okay.
You're allowed to stop saying horde if you've only said the huh. After that, you are committed.
For the Horde!
Yes, you have to finish the word. It is a word that has one stopping point, and that's it. Otherwise, meaning shifts.
I gave it a hard D, John. Good night, everybody. I almost said I gave the whore a hard D, and that would have been very inappropriate.
Yeah, Ben. We're teaching you about the word horde. Where you have to put the emphasis.
Yeah, you don't put on the wrong syllable.
Good lord.
Lord duh.
Yeah. Finish
Just
words. It's important. It's important to finish your words.
Good lore. No, that's not how that works. It's not at all. But yeah, anyways, I have people waiting for me to do some dungeons.
Dungeons! Go do some dungeons!
Excited. Thanks, great show.
Yeah, great show. Good job. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're going to call that a show. You all have a fantastic weekend. Be safe and have fun in Azeroth. Bye, everybody.
Bye.